Hello, I'm Hope Logan. I am an actor on Bold and the Beautiful, and many people really love both me and our Bold and the Beautiful drama. So I've come here to share updates about my beloved Bold and the Beautiful. Everyone, please subscribe and support me. If you do, I will keep coming every day with new updates for you. The latest developments in the Bold and the Beautiful hint that Katie Logan Spencer's carefully crafted agreement with Brooke Logan Spencer may be heading toward a dramatic collapse, and the fallout could be far bigger than anyone expected. What initially seemed like a simple business arrangement is now beginning to reveal cracks beneath the surface, threatening to ignite fresh tension within the Logan family. Katie believed she had found a clever way to honor the letter of her promise while quietly bending its spirit, but secrets like these rarely stay buried for long in Los Angeles. As the truth inches closer to the surface, the stage is being set for betrayal, confrontation, and consequences that could ripple far beyond a single hiring decision. The trouble began when Katie assured Brooke that she would remain committed to hiring only Spencers. On the surface, it sounded like a straightforward pledge, one that offered Brooke reassurance and strengthened their partnership. Yet behind that promise was a calculated piece of strategy that Katie kept entirely to herself. She had already discovered what she considered the perfect loophole, a technicality she fully intended to use when the time was right. Since Hope Logan Spencer is a Spencer by marriage, Katie convinced herself that bringing Hope aboard would not violate the agreement at all. In Katie's mind, she had found a way to get exactly what she wanted while still claiming she had kept her word. For now, that hidden truth remains under wraps, but the reaction from Brooke is easy to imagine once she learns what really happened. Brooke is unlikely to see Katie's move as clever or justified. Instead, she may view it as a deliberate deception, a betrayal disguised as legal wording and technical definitions. Even if Hope carries the Spencer name through marriage, Brooke could easily argue that Hope remains deeply connected to the Forrester world and that Katie effectively poached a Forrester employee anyway. The discovery would transform a simple disagreement into a deeply personal conflict, one fueled by hurt feelings, broken trust, and the belief that a promise was manipulated for personal gain. Hope's transition itself only became possible because she was ready to move forward with a new chapter in her professional life. After everything that happened, she stepped away from her previous position and prepared to focus her energy on a brand new fashion line at Logan. It was meant to be a fresh start, an opportunity to leave behind old frustrations and embrace a future filled with possibility. Yet even as Hope settled into this exciting new venture, her arrival carried the potential to create new divisions. The move already placed Katie's agreement with Brooke under scrutiny, and it may only be the beginning of a much larger shift in the fashion landscape. Meanwhile, across town, another talented designer finds himself facing many of the same frustrations that once pushed Hope toward the exit. Zende Forrester Dominguez has become increasingly unhappy with his place at Forrester Creations. Day after day, he has watched opportunities flow toward R.J. Forrester, who seems to receive special treatment at every turn. From Zende's perspective, R.J. has become the family's golden child, the one whose desires are consistently prioritized while others are expected to fall in line. The resentment has been building slowly but steadily, creating a sense of disappointment that grows stronger with each passing setback. The ongoing turmoil surrounding hope for the future has only intensified those feelings. As tensions have mounted within the company, Zende has found himself questioning where he truly belongs and whether his contributions are genuinely valued. The frustration has become impossible to ignore, leaving him increasingly tempted to step away from the environment altogether. Much like Hope before him, he has begun contemplating the possibility of taking a leave of absence and putting distance between himself and the company that no longer feels like home. What once seemed unthinkable is now becoming a very real possibility. As those doubts continue to grow, a compelling question begins to emerge. What happens if Zende ultimately decides he has had enough and turns to Katie for an opportunity? The answer could dramatically reshape the future of both Logan and Forrester Creations. Once Zende learns where Hope landed and discovers the fresh start she has been given, he may start envisioning a similar path for himself. Rather than remaining in a place where he feels overlooked and underappreciated, he could choose to walk away completely and pursue a future where his talents are celebrated instead of taken for granted. The possibility becomes even more intriguing when considering what Zende could bring to Logan. His creativity, experience, and design skills could make him an invaluable addition to Katie's growing team. In fact, he might become the driving force behind an entirely new fashion line, following the momentum created by Hope's latest project. Such a role would give him the recognition and responsibility he has long been seeking. More importantly, it would provide an opportunity to prove himself on his own terms, away from the shadows and family dynamics that have continually limited his growth at Forrester Creations. At its core, Zen's struggle mirrors the emotional journey Hope recently experienced. Both have felt dismissed, both have felt undervalued, and both have wrestled with the painful belief that their contributions are not being fully recognized by the people around them. That shared sense of frustration could make the idea of a fresh start at Logan impossible to resist. For Zende, leaving Forrester behind would not simply be a career move, it would be a declaration that he refuses to settle for being pushed aside any longer. If that moment arrives, Katie may find herself facing a difficult but tempting decision. Hiring Zende would almost certainly violate the promise she made to Brooke, at least in Brooke's eyes. Yet Katie may decide that securing another talented designer is worth the risk. The success of Logan could depend on attracting creative minds capable of building something extraordinary, and Zende fits that description perfectly. Faced with the opportunity to strengthen her company and support someone who feels overlooked, Katie might choose business growth over family harmony. Should that happen, the consequences could be explosive. Brooke would likely see Zende's hiring as undeniable proof that Katie abandoned their agreement entirely. Any lingering debate over technicalities and loopholes would disappear the moment another Forrester crossed over to Logan. The tension between the sisters could reach a boiling point, turning professional disagreements into deeply emotional battles. And as news spreads, it would leave Brooke absolutely furious, convinced that Katie deliberately ignored the spirit of their pact from the very beginning. With emotions running high and careers hanging in the balance, Zende now stands at a crossroads that could define his future. Whether he remains loyal to Forrester Creations or chooses to seek a new beginning elsewhere, the decision will carry major consequences for everyone involved. As old loyalties are tested and new opportunities emerge, the drama continues to build toward what could be a game-changing turning point. One thing is becoming increasingly clear: Zende must decide where his career goes from here, and whatever choice he makes could send shockwaves through both the Logan and Forrester families for a long time to come. As uncertainty continues to surround Zende's future, the atmosphere at Forrester Creations grows heavier with each passing day. Every meeting, every design review, and every celebration of RJ's latest success only seems to deepen the frustration simmering beneath the surface. Zende has spent years proving his talent, dedicating himself to the family business, and believing that hard work would eventually earn him the respect and recognition he deserved. Yet lately, that belief has begun to fade. The more he watches others move ahead while his own contributions are overlooked, the harder it becomes to ignore the feeling that he is standing still while everyone else advances. What was once a temporary disappointment is slowly transforming into a profound sense of disillusionment, leaving him to wonder whether his future truly belongs within the walls of a company that bears his family name. At the same time, Hope's new beginning at Logan is already beginning to represent something larger than a simple career move. To those watching from the outside, her departure from Forrester Creations serves as proof that there are opportunities beyond the family dynasty. She made the difficult decision to walk away from familiar surroundings and embrace an uncertain future, and now she appears to be building something exciting from the ground up. That kind of courage can be contagious. For someone like Zende, who feels trapped by frustration and disappointment, Hope's success could become the very thing that inspires him to take a similar leap of faith. Instead of viewing her departure as a risky gamble, he may begin seeing it as evidence that leaving Forrester does not have to mean failure, it could mean freedom. Meanwhile, Katie remains focused on growing Logan into a serious force within the fashion industry, but her ambitions may soon place her directly in the path of another family storm. Bringing Hope on board was already a bold move, one that carried hidden consequences she chose not to fully acknowledge. At the time, Katie could justify her decision through the loophole she believed protected her from criticism. However, the situation becomes much more complicated if another member of the Forrester family comes knocking on her door. Unlike Hope, whose Spencer surname provided Katie with a convenient technical defense, Zende's arrival would be impossible to explain away. It would stand as a clear and undeniable contradiction of the promise she made to Brooke. The emotional stakes surrounding such a decision would be enormous. Katie knows exactly how Brooke would react if she learned that yet another Forrester had joined Logan's growing roster. Any trust that remained between them could be shattered in an instant. Brooke would likely view the move not as a business necessity, but as a personal betrayal, proof that Katie never truly intended to honor their agreement. The conflict would not simply revolve around hiring practices or company policies. It would strike at the heart of their relationship, reopening old wounds and creating new resentments that could take months or even years to heal. As these possibilities loom in the distance, Brooke remains unaware of just how vulnerable her arrangement with Katie has become. For now, she still believes the foundation of their agreement is intact. Yet beneath that calm surface, forces are already shifting. Hope's arrival has created a precedent, and Zen's growing dissatisfaction threatens to create another. Every day that passes increases the likelihood that circumstances will push Katie toward a choice she never expected to face. The question is no longer whether tensions will rise, but how explosive the eventual fallout will be when the truth finally emerges. For Zende, however, the issue extends beyond office politics and family rivalries. Deep down, he is searching for something much more personal: validation. He wants to know that his work matters. He wants to feel that his creativity is respected, and that his voice carries weight. Those desires are not driven by ego, but by a genuine need to be appreciated for what he brings to the table. After years of feeling overshadowed, the promise of a fresh environment where his talents could flourish may become impossible to resist. If Logan offers him that opportunity, he could find himself standing at the threshold of a life-changing decision. The potential partnership between Hope and Zende would also create an intriguing new dynamic. Both have experienced disappointment at Forrester. Both understand what it feels like to fight for recognition and come away feeling unheard. Together, they could channel those experiences into something powerful, building new projects fueled by determination and creative passion. What begins as a professional collaboration could evolve into the foundation of Logan's future success, turning former frustrations into motivation. For Katie, such a team would represent exactly the kind of talent capable of transforming her company into a legitimate competitor. Yet success often comes with a price in the world of the bold and the beautiful. Every opportunity creates new conflicts, every victory sparks fresh rivalries, and every secret eventually finds its way into the light. If Katie chooses to bring Zende into the fold, the celebration of a promising new chapter could quickly become overshadowed by family outrage. Brooke's anger would be fierce, and the ripple effects would extend far beyond the sisters themselves. Relationships would be tested, loyalties questioned, and old divisions intensified as both families struggle to adapt to the changing landscape. For now, the future remains uncertain, suspended between possibility and consequence. Zende continues to wrestle with doubts about his place at Forrester Creations, while Katie stands on the edge of decisions that could alter the course of her company forever. Hope's journey has already proven that one bold choice can change everything. The question now is whether Zende will follow that same path, and whether Katie will be willing to risk another broken promise to help him do it. As ambitions collide with family loyalty and long-buried frustrations threaten to erupt, the next chapter promises even more drama, heartbreak, and unexpected twists waiting just around the corner. As the possibility of Zende leaving Forrester Creations becomes more real, the emotional fault lines running through the family business begin to widen. What once looked like ordinary workplace frustration is now evolving into something far more serious. Zende can no longer ignore the disappointment that greets him every time another opportunity slips through his fingers. He has invested years of loyalty, creativity, and dedication into the company, believing that persistence would eventually earn him a place among the most valued members of the organization. Instead, he finds himself standing on the sidelines, watching others receive the praise and attention he has spent so long trying to achieve. That growing sense of exclusion follows him everywhere, turning what should be moments of pride into reminders of everything he feels he has lost. In quiet moments, it becomes impossible for Zende not to compare his own experience to Hope's. She reached a point where remaining at Forrester no longer felt sustainable, and rather than continuing to fight an uphill battle, she chose a completely different path. At the time, many may have viewed her departure as emotional or impulsive, but from Zende's perspective, Her decision is beginning to make more sense than ever before. She refused to remain somewhere she felt undervalued, and now she is building something new with people who believe in her vision. The more he reflects on that reality, the more attractive the idea of starting over becomes. What once seemed like a drastic move is gradually starting to feel like the logical next step. Meanwhile, Katie finds herself in a position she may never have anticipated when she first struck her agreement with Brooke. Her intention was to grow Logan while maintaining peace within the family, but those goals are becoming increasingly difficult to balance. Every success the company experiences strengthens her confidence in the direction she has chosen. Hope's arrival has already injected fresh energy into the business, creating excitement about what the future might hold. Katie can see the potential for something truly special, a company built around talented individuals who have been overlooked elsewhere. Yet with that opportunity comes an unavoidable question. How far is she willing to go to secure Logan's success? The answer may arrive sooner than she expects. If Zende eventually walks through her door seeking a fresh start, Katie will be forced to make a choice that could redefine her relationship with Brooke forever. On one hand, she will see an incredibly gifted designer searching for a chance to prove himself. On the other, she will see the promise she made hanging by a thread. The temptation to bring Zende aboard could be overwhelming. After all, opportunities like this do not come around every day. Finding someone with his experience, talent, and determination could accelerate Logan's growth in ways Katie has only dreamed about. For Brooke, however, such a development would feel like the ultimate betrayal. Learning the truth about Hope's hiring would already be difficult enough. Discovering that Katie then went on to recruit another member of the Forrester family could push her anger to an entirely different level. Brooke would likely see a pattern emerging, one that suggests Katie never truly respected their agreement in the first place. Every explanation, every technical argument, and every attempt at justification would probably sound hollow in Brooke's ears. From her perspective, promises are built on trust, not loopholes, and trust once broken is not easily restored. The tension would only intensify as word spreads through both families. Forrester Creations could suddenly find itself confronting the uncomfortable reality of losing yet another talented figure. Questions would inevitably arise about why valued employees keep feeling compelled to leave. Some might quietly agree with Zen's frustrations, while others could view his departure as an act of disloyalty. The conversations would become increasingly emotional, exposing frustrations that have been simmering beneath the surface for far longer than anyone realized. What begins as one person's career decision could quickly evolve into a larger debate about appreciation, favoritism, and the future direction of the company itself. At the center of it all stands Zende, carrying the weight of a decision that could change the course of his life. Leaving Forrester would mean stepping away from familiarity, family history, and the security that comes with an established position. Yet staying could mean continuing to endure the same disappointments that have gradually worn down his confidence and enthusiasm. It is a crossroads filled with uncertainty, but also with possibility. The dream of a fresh beginning grows stronger every day, fueled by the belief that somewhere else his talents might finally receive the recognition they deserve. As these storylines continue to converge, the drama surrounding Logan and Forrester is poised to reach a critical turning point. Hope's new chapter, Katie's risky decisions, Brooke's looming outrage, and Zen's career crisis are all moving toward the same destination. The emotional stakes are rising with every passing moment, creating a sense that a major shift is on the horizon. Whether that shift leads to triumph, heartbreak, or an explosive family confrontation remains to be seen. But one thing is becoming increasingly clear: the choices made in the days ahead will have lasting consequences, and when the truth finally comes out, nobody involved will emerge unchanged.